Hi, this is Zach with the US Chartbreakers here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 4th of June. Starting off with the S&P, and here we're back up at the best levels of last month towards 6,000. Above that, we're looking obviously for the February resistance 6150, and hopefully by the end of next month up to as high as 6330, which is the 1 month broadening triangle resistance line target. On the downside, hoping that recent 5770 support will remain in place, and in fact, hopefully, or ideally, support comes in from 5850 or above, which has been recent sessions support for this market. Moving along to the Nasdaq, and also looking skywards at the moment, even though we still have the tariff uncertainty around us. The current situation is we've had a decent close above 21,600, breaking the May resistance around 21,450, and we're looking for not only February resistance around 22,200, but also up to 22,900, which is the top of the 1 year broadening triangle that takes out, obviously, all the early 2025 resistance. Moving on to the stocks, and a few recent repeats, let's say, which is interesting. First is Allied Gaming, where positive consolidation has resulted in us closing well above the initial target here, $2, call it $3. Next level up, the $3.85 level, best case up to as high as $6 by the end of next month, and looking very strong indeed, especially while we remain on the right side of the $2.50 area, which is basically the base of the latest bull flag. Moving on to Biomea, and here rising trend channel base is what we're thinking about at the moment. Here you can see that the top of the channel heading for $4, and we're looking for that the longer we stay above the 50-day line at $1.87, which should be relatively straightforward. Moving on to another stock, which is a recent repeat, Basel Medical. Here the story is that we're finding support, or found support above the 50-day line, $3.94, and we're looking for another sweep up towards $6.50, which is the top of that broadening triangle from back in February. Through $6.50 and beyond, looking for as high as $10, but that's a target for maybe next month. CoreWeave is back, and here you can see why we're making progress within a rising trend channel. It's one of those guesswork channels, so the level we've guessed that the top of the channel was or is $170, and while we're above recent broken resistance $130, that should be and could be the minimum that we see on the upside sometime later this month. Another return for Classover, and here trading between these different bands above the $3.70 level. We were looking for $5 above that. We're looking for a full-blown retest of the best levels through $10, hopefully sometime later this month. Any dips towards that 50-day line of $4.44 in the meantime regarded as potential long opportunities. Moving on to Eyenovia, which is also making a reappearance, and here you can see that we've got this rising trend channel base. We've managed to consolidate after the gap higher through the 50-day moving average. At the moment, near-term support around the $1.60 level, and above that, looking at the top of the channel, $4.40 as soon as the end of next month. Next on the list is Fast Track, and here you can see that we've got one of those guesswork rising trend channel situations, although in this case, obviously, the spike high towards $10 is likely to be the top of the channel. We're looking for that while we're above the mid-range of yesterday, so that's around $6, or the mid-range of yesterday's open and close levels, around $6, and then obviously $10, hopefully again, sometime later this month. Moving on to Lyra, which is another repeat, and here, interestingly enough, the support for the shares hopefully continuing to come at yesterday's low intraday close. What is decent about yesterday's price action is that the shares managed to open well above the closing price and stay there, and therefore it does suggest that there is decent support at and above $20, ahead of a potential retest of the latest highs through $36 intraday. Moving on to a situation which hopefully will be a frequent flyer here as well. And it comes in the form of Kiora. Here you can see that we've had quite a gap to the upside and probably getting most of the bears off guard and offside. Here, recent support, rather recent resistance, $3.50, which should become new support. And that resistance line projection from the end of last year heading towards $4.70 should be a decent target sometime in the next few sessions. Moving along the list, and we've got Perspective Therapeutics here, rising trend channel base, above a rising 50-day moving average as well. Floor of the channel there around $2.40. That's just above the 50-day line, and while we have that 50-day line support, and in the wake of a double and triple RSI 50 rebound, looking for at least $4.50 by the end of this month. Moving on to the last three, and the first one is Rapport Therapeutics. Gap close buy signal, bouncing off the floor of a rising trend channel base there, around $9.20, and above that, looking for as high as $20.60 by the end of next month, especially if we can get decent closes above recent resistance through $12.70. Finishing up, well, no, another two to go, apologies. Starting off with the situation at ReShape Life Sciences, and here another difficult one, I suppose, in the sense that we've got the shares in this falling trend channel, top of the channel there at $19. That's the best case scenario target on the upside by the end of next month if we can get a decent close above that 50-day line at $9. We're assuming we will, given the unfilled gap to the upside yesterday, although it has to be said we've been here before with gaps and then people selling into that strength in the stock. On to the last contender today, Tango Therapeutics, and here rising trend channel base, rising 50-day line, got RSI, the RSI well above and staying above the neutral 50 level, so it looks as though $4.30 at the top of that channel will be the minimum on the upside, probably more realistically looking for $5, which is the top of that gap down that we had back in November. Upside valid, while we'll hold above recent support around $2.20. Ideally, we stay on the right side of $2.50, which was resistance on the way down. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.